Welcome to the Dungeon Dwellers podcast episode where we get canceled.
The point of controversy, where everything went downhill.
Episode 11, our final episode. Oh boy!
All right, lead us in.
Oh
Take
wait,
us
that
away,
was
Maestro.
you just did the intro?
I did on accident.
Wow! Oh wow! I'm so proud of you. Normally, I have to like beat people with a stick to try and do intros, but
You know, I'm really trying.
We're getting better at this.
yeah, we are getting better.
I also
Anyway.
started streaming, and that's hard. You have to be very personable.
It's very hard, but anyway. So let's go ahead and kick this off. So, welcome to episode 11. This is the rant episode. So, if you're sensitive to political discourse and hearing people maybe even argue, I might recommend you
probably
skip to
argue.
episode 12.
Yeah, just a little disclaimer here.
Yeah.
Or
So,
what is it called? The viewer discretion advised.
yeah, literally. So it's May 29th, 2022. The world is essentially Mad Max, but without the apocalyptic part.
To you.
And what the fuck? We're gonna talk about it. So let's fucking
What
talk
the
about it.
fuck? Everything is
Let's talk about
fine.
So I think this is a great start. I just opened up Reddit.
Oh God.
Yep. I know, right? Yeah, absolutely terrible. site, but I'm hooked on it. I can't help but browse Reddit all the time. But anyway, I go to Reddit. This is the first post, like top post of Reddit as of May 29th.
I feel like I know what this is going to be about, but continue.
Oh, you know exactly what it's going to be about. In
know
quotations,
exactly.
the shooter passed a background check. There were no warning signs. Nothing we could have done to prevent this. Close quotations. Girls responding. We actually reported him for threatening to rape and murder us, but nobody would listen. Cut off. Open quotations. Nothing could have been done. Close quotations.
Fuck.
Here
So
we
got
go.
quite a heavy start, right?
Oh my God.
So I feel like another disclaimer here. 3 out of 4 people that are present in this podcast right now are women. And like that in itself is
Incels beware.
yeah, incels beware. If you have been diagnosed with fragile masculinity, please turn away now.
Oh no.
There's a little fancy button that's just like a little X that you can just find right at the top of your browser just now.
Right now. Yep. Just right out of here. This is not for you. Thanks.
Also, feel free to leave a
God.
comment.
Oh yes,
yeah, definitely
rants
do that.
and dislike, because any attention you give us just helps. But wow,
That is a strong
so
start.
I feel like that is just the way that 2022 is right now. Is literally women screaming at people that things are happening, and they're just like, wow, what a breeze. You hear that
At least
wind?
this month, if nothing else this month.
Yeah, if nothing else this month. But this year was the second anniversary of the annual incel celebration of April 22nd, which has been dubbed by the internet as National Rape Day.
Wait, what?
If
Incels
nobody
Yeah,
knew
you didn't
that.
hear about
together?
this?
No, not at all.
No,
I hear a decent amount about incels, but I've never heard anything about them having a holiday together.
Yeah,
do they take the day
put
off?
together last year. They put together a thing where they go around and try and scare as many women as possible.
Okay, that's
And mostly it's just terrorizing people and being like, you better be careful. April 22nd's coming up and we're coming for you.
God.
And they never
Jesus
actually do
Christ.
anything. But
they're incels. They couldn't do anything anyway.
Right, but still the fear, the terror, and that comes with being born with a vagina.
Right. I don't understand the incel like point of view. Like I can see how it starts, right? But how does it finish with instituting a holiday?
They don't.
Well, the way that this started was taking back what was rightfully theirs. Is what they phrased this as. Is women are getting too much power. We have to take them down a notch.
I don't understand that.
That makes no sense. What do they know the historical power of women?
No.
No, they don't.
The answer to that is
don't.
no.
They're the same type of people that say things like women control the sexual aspect.
The means
of life.
of production. Yes, that's correct. We do.
Oh wait, so like women are communists?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Seize the means of production?
Yes.
Down with the bourgeoisie.
I see. All right. So I have a question for all three of you then.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Oh.
Hot take. It's just
Are you communists?
I
feel obligated. I really do feel obligated to just no. Yeah.
No.
No.
But also, do you want to know what's real funny about that? Like, communism is just hilarious to me because the Communist Manifesto is exactly what it says. It's a manifesto. It's literally just some guy talking about what he thinks. It's not even a governmental plan. And then a bunch of people are just like, yes.
Instituted. It was never supposed to be a policy.
Yeah.
It was basically a guy standing in the middle of the room being like, hey, we could work off this. And everyone else in the room was like, that's good. We're going to do that right now.
Oh my gosh. So are we about to dive into Russian politics? But not like current, like previous Russian politics? Because I think two of us here are a little versed in that subject.
Yeah, you guys did read that book. I forget what it was called.
I didn't read it, actually. Sorry.
Brandon, you were supposed to read the book.
He still has it.
Read a lot of things.
Brandon.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, you still have my book.
Shame.
Oh, you have my book.
You were one of the people. There's missing books on my shelf.
Oh, I do.
Women that I lent books to in high school took my books and never brought them. There's a book box missing a book. That's tragic.
I will say I am guilty of accidentally stealing a book that was lent to me when I moved.
I also accidentally stole a movie.
Same.
I feel guilty about this every day.
I stopped feeling guilty a couple years ago.
Sorry, Jesse. I didn't really mean to take.
No, not in general. About the book.
You don't feel guilt anymore?
No, I borrowed someone's copy of Deadpool Kills Marvel.
Ooh.
Oh.
And then I didn't return it.
Do you still have that?
Yep.
I really
on our
wanted
shelf,
to
and I didn't know
that.
it was stolen.
Ooh,
so
contraband.
If somebody went to school with me and you're missing the killer nurse, just hit me up. I'll get it back to you, I swear.
Jesse, I'm really sorry that I took your copy of Warm Bodies. It was an accident.
I don't remember.
I moved. It was just there.
You know, sorry. If you find out that's your copy, let me know. I'll buy you a new copy.
Yeah.
Not getting that one back.
In my defense, we went halfsies on that movie. Like we bought it together. So that's a moral gray area. Who was it supposed to go to?
I don't know. I guess you have to get a divorce lawyer. So, what we were talking about Russian politics.
Yeah, we
led things into, that piss us off.
We led into Russian politics because we were talking about how women are communists of their own bodies somehow.
Wow. Honestly, I'm impressed that we made it about 10 minutes before we started talking about the fall of Russia. So.
I mean, it's been it's been a slow fall.
I wonder what
I will
it would
always
be like
talk about the fall of Russia.
Like a Russia to live in the wake of Russia's power, because I think that wouldn't
feel like it's a giant. It's just this giant
Right.
shadow.
Right, yeah. And like think of it like 200 years ago versus like now. Like what is the difference? I feel like we don't really talk about 200 years ago. It's kind of just like, I don't know, Rasputin,
Like
some
under
weird Russian
Stalin,
stuff,
or
and
like
then blah. Well, Stalin was not 200 years ago. That was 100 years ago.
no, I know. But like leading up to that,
Like 80
leading up
years
to
ago.
now, if we go back 80 years, that's Stalin. If we go back after that, what was before Stalin? Who is Stalin's predecessor?
Lenin.
Lenin?
Well, they were kind of adversaries together. It
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily a
And
predecessor.
didn't Stalin kill
Well, he
him?
kind of was a.
Yeah, kind of
yeah.
was, but they were like friends as
It's
like children, and that caused a whole dynamic. But
But
anyway,
it wasn't even going well then. It wasn't as bad,
No.
but
there's much debate over how
and
Lenin
now
died.
Russia is
but-
in the hands of an old spy, and has been for my entire life.
yeah, I think
The last
he's still in
czar of
office
Russia
till
didn't even want to
2050.
be there. That's my thing.
Wait, who was the last czar?
Nicholas.
Nicholas, yeah.
Or
He was the last czar, Nicholas?
yes.
Yes.
Nikolai.
Oh, you're right, because there's been no czars since.
Yeah,
Nope.
they just abolished that.
Right. Yeah, I remember
became-
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, his son Alexei was supposed to be the next czar, but he abdicated for Alexei. Alexei got pissed at his dad for that, though. But he died not long after.
Well, they all
Honestly,
died.
I don't really blame Alexei
Yeah.
for not wanting that on his
Well,
shoulders.
Alexei was a
'cause, like,
10-year-old kid.
man, what it must have been like to be born in the wake of power.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems interesting. It seems like it's kind of on the wane now. You know, like it's these. I'm not trying to say that this is like the death throes of Russia currently, but it seems like it's been on the decline ever since, I guess, the end of Stalin.
Well, that's why I said that it's been kind of a slow fall.
Right.
But I mean, I guess isn't everything just a
Right.
slow fall?
Being alive, even.
Rome wasn't built in a day, and Rome didn't fall in a day.
No,
I
though
mean,
a lot of
basically
people
did.
think that Rome fell in a day. I will say
Actually,
it did fall into chaos pretty quickly.
Yes, but I will say, I recently had a class about this. People kind of have a misconception. So the whole Byzantine Empire stuff, that was established, like the name was given to them years after by historians. They still called themselves Romans. They were still the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
So it took a
Okay.
while for Rome to like disappear.
All. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Kind of like
I
the
guess-
US.
I feel like by that point though, they had already fallen. Like by the time there was the Byzantine Empire, it was like Rome was basically over. They were just waiting for it to like die.
It's really funny.
Yeah,
that
honestly, after
we-
Constantine, that was kind of.
Dude, Constantine. But okay, so this is becoming more of a history.
seriously,
Sorry.
I want to reroute this back into the conversation because this is a really good. We were just talking about history. We were taught all of this that shouldn't be applicable to our lives. Like we learned this in the cookie cutters schools of America that teach factory workers. Like that's how they were designed. This shouldn't be
Well-
applicable knowledge, but we are watching this history happen and unfold again.
Unfortunately,
As it
most
does.
people weren't taught it. Like that's the thing. People don't pay attention in history classes, you know? And even then, I mean, how many times were we taught that like Columbus was this great explorer, you know? By the time it becomes,
Columbus.
actual true history, nobody is actually
Hi, Craig. Welcome back.
Are we back?
Not sure why Craig left there, but let's just get back into the.
Craig is tired of
things.
our bullshit.
Craig
Yeah,
is
he's-
tired of our bullshit.
Is Craig an incel? Is that what we're finding out now?
Oh god.
Oh no.
I was gonna make a joke about them because you mentioned civil rights, and I was like, "You mean critical race theory?"
No, this is too real.
That's the point. That's the
That's the
whole
point.
point.
It hurts.
Yeah, this episode's gonna be hard for me because I'm still like struggling under the weight
of everything.
Like horror.
Well, let's
Yeah.
throw it down real quick. Like
For
all
real.
the things in a timeline, sort of.
Ugh.
It's gonna be
The
a messed up
timeline?
timeline because I can't keep it all straight. But
Where are we starting from?
I don't know.
Trump?
Do you want to start as COVID as the nexus point?
I feel like
Oh,
Trump
my.
Nexus.
is mine. That's where it all went downhill.
I mean, it was
I could
definitely
argue
going
that happened
downhill
before it.
Yeah, I agree, but I feel like that was I think for me personally, that
Honestly,
was a pivotal, like,
I will
oh,
say,
let's talk about how Trump happened, which is the lack of education in America and the pitting against each other of the classes and races to further separate the American people so that they don't know what they're doing.
actually,
if you
what
hate
was
your neighbor,
interesting
you're busy, aren't you?
is
Like,
that Trump was a really interesting character because people who you wouldn't assume would follow this man were like, yeah, he's going to do great things because of the things he promised. But he was kind of, if using your term of nexus point, he was kind of the point of like a lot of division because people suddenly, if you weren't following Trump, then you didn't care about, the civilians in America. You need,
well, the
you were
election of Trump also was a falsehood. He won under false pretenses.
Wait, what?
So not really. Like everybody voted for him, but the reason that it happened is a lot of stuff for the other candidates were floated by Russian bots on things like Facebook and social media and Instagram, and a lot of the newer voting populists that were flooding into the polls got these crazy ads that were targeted directly at their audience from
Right.
sold data.
Yeah.
Them exactly what they
I do
wanted
remember
to
that.
hear.
Yeah.
About
It's
Trump.
So it's Britannica Analytica. That's the name of the company, and there's actually a documentary about all of that and the Trump election and how that correlates to like what happened, right? So I really highly recommend watching that because that documentary is way smarter than anything the four of us are going to say.
Yeah.
And let me just reiterate that I'm not saying that Trump won because people didn't vote for him. That isn't what happened. Everyone absolutely did vote for him. He won because Americans chose Trump over his competition.
Right. And
that's
I
how
feel
it
like
happened.
Too, like at the time, like in because that was what 2016?
2016, yeah, because I was just
2016. A lot of the people that I spoke to that voted for Trump in 2016, obviously things changed dynamically.
2017. It was 2017. Because it was the year that I graduated.
So, well, that was when he got inaugurated in.
Yeah, because 2016 is the year of the
you're
election.
Right. It was the year
happen every
of
4
2016, 2017.
Right.
Because he got inaugurated that January.
A lot of people that voted for Trump because he wasn't your typical politician. Like, people were tired of getting fucked over by politicians in America. So they would vote for Trump because
he's a businessman. I mean, I heard that a lot. It was a lot of people saying he's a businessman.
Right. And that he's not a politician, that he's trying to tell the truth. And in 2016, that, didn't necessarily seem like the case, but at least you could have the benefit of the doubt.
So speaking of
2020, obviously things are a little more convoluted.
Absolute clown. We now have an absolute clown holding a Bible upside down in front of a church to appease people. People got tear gassed for this event.
And a group of people could just storm the White House. That was a thing that happened.
He told the nation to grab women by the pussy. For all those who may have forgotten that.
He sexualized his daughter on national television.
So speaking of people, backtracking to why Trump was elected, speaking of people that will say things a lot smarter than what we can pull together, there's a book I read called Tightrope. It's like, that's not the full name, but like America on its Tightrope or something like that.
A man on a wire or something. I know exactly what you're talking about.
No. Tightrope is the name for it, though. that's the big bold letters on this, but it talks about, the middle class of America and how a lot of times people got so fed up with being screwed over by the government that they looked at Trump promising, caring about the little people. So they were like, you know what, this is a change we need. And so
they
chose
literally
him.
became unwitting pawns.
Yeah.
Based on their
because
own
of what he promised and what
being
because
fed
they
up.
Rightfully so,
yeah, for obvious reasons. We have been on a steady incline in fucking inflation. Wages have stayed the same somehow.
Seems like ever since Watergate, it's just really gone down.
God,
oh my
Watergate.
God! And the American water, the fucking half of America doesn't have fresh water going to their houses.
Half of America, really?
It's not exactly. It's like 35%. It's an absurd number. A staggering number of people. I have seen videos of people lighting their tap water on fire.
Yeah. Because natural gas seeps in, because we are slowly draining our planet dry, and we're finding microplastics in placentas of newborn babies. That's fine.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That happened this year.
That happened. I saw an article literally like 2 days ago about this.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, all my existential dread, the biggest existential dread for me comes from the fact that we are destroying this planet in such an obscure,
it's not even us though. I feel like saying we still leads to the wrong message. A scientist lit himself on fire 2 months ago because large corporations are not listening to them. It isn't us.
I mean, and
the consumers can do nothing to fix this. It is literally the corporations that are don't get me wrong. You should recycle your plastics. You shouldn't litter. You should
limit your
emissions and your water usage and all that, and focus on your carbon footprint. But goddamn, it is so misleading to tell people that they can fix the planet because they can't.
Yeah, and not only that, but the whole, go walk to your destination. With the infrastructure of America, I'm going to be walking for 5 days to get to class.
Really, if we cared that much, we would set up more infrastructure. But it costs too much money and it would create too many jobs.
Bro, it doesn't even cost too much money. They just they just don't give a fuck. Because I mean,
that's the thing. It's not that it's not going to work, because there's countries that have made it work. It's not that it's too much money, because in the long run, it's actually less money. It's not that they don't have the technology, because they do have the technology. It's not that they don't have the means. They do. They just don't want to, because it'll take money from their pockets, because suddenly people don't need them anymore.
Right. You can't buy your third yacht anymore.
A lot of America's debt is to its own people.
That's
Agreed.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, I mean, we're just sitting here and it's like a big fucking pot of fuck you. Right.
You got slowly boiling
potatoes.
Fuck you.
You got the eat shit carrots. It's just a big pot of you suck.
And to be honest, so I know that Supreme Court shit takes a long time. It's a long, drawn-out process.
Yeah,
but
bureaucratic
this Roe
nightmares.
v. Wade stuff. So in case you don't know, in case anybody who's listening doesn't know, Roe v. Wade is like an addendum onto the 14th Amendment. And the 14th Amendment is a lot of things, such as women's suffrage, which doesn't mean women's suffering for people who don't know. It's women's ability to vote. Another thing under the 14th Amendment... Which is kind of suffering
because they had no control over the future. But...
Honestly. But another thing under the 14th Amendment is slavery. The ability to not own people. It's African American rights. It's also bodily autonomy, such as what you do to your body is your choice.
And when you think about it, the
all of
14th
that
Amendment
is under
is
the 14th Amendment. And
right.
if the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade, it is in direct violation of a constitutional right. So everybody who's like NRA, yeah, that's my Second Amendment right, blah 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 blah. You should really be looking at your 14th Amendment right now, because that's another constitutional infringement that they're looking at right now. But I mean,
Point
you
of
don't care
clarification.
yet because you don't have a placenta or any of a vagina or a uterus, or not being falsely imprisoned because you had a miscarriage. But when they start taking away constitutional rights, they will eventually just pluck them away.
Point of clarification. There was a single amendment that was dedicated to women's suffrage. That was the 19th. But your point is still valid. The 14th was like citizenship. Kind of like, hey, you have rights to everybody who was naturally born in the US type thing.
Yeah, it's basically the human rights clause.
Yeah, pretty much. And apparently the most controversial one, because humans just can't fucking get along.
People are just obsessed with more.
My favorite way to put this, because people
More
still like
indeed.
to be, it's murder, pro-life. Let's put it this way. This is going to be my hot take on abortion. Real quick. Real controversial shit here. Let's say...
Hope you're ready.
Let's say someone's in a car crash.
Hold on to your pants, Craig.
Right? Someone's in a car crash. They're dead for 5 minutes. But then they can be brought back. Right? They get the normal cardiac rhythm going. They have to be hooked up onto a ventilator so their lungs work. But they don't have any brain function. There's nothing there. It's just a person who's breathing with a machine, and that's it. Is that person alive?
I think the common consensus is still yes on that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I see what you're going for, and I think it's a valid take. Because is that person still alive? Are they still enjoying what life has to offer? Do they even have the option anymore? And it's a really contentious thing in health, specifically, with like assisted suicide and stuff like that. So,
right.
I'm not advocating for
no. This is the exact reaction I want.
Right, and also,
I wanted the trepidation, the creeping in maybes, but let's
most frequently
from scientific perspective.
Wait, hold on. I think Mauk's been trying to get something.
Go ahead,
out.
Molly.
So most frequently, whether or not the person is alive, if in that case it is always given an option to the families to quote unquote pull the plug. Like that is an option given to every family in that situation. And I think that's really important to consider. Is when they are in a vegetative state. Like when they're in a vegetative state, like they're like, hey, so no brain infection, like you can tell us to just pull the plug on this.
And they do it. And it's totally legal and it's constitutional and it has very little uproar of pro-life anything. No, nobody's mad that somebody unplugged Bethany after her car accident and she stopped breathing and died.
I also have something to say about this.
Okay.
That's a little bit of a different perspective. So the thing with abortion, right, is that it's people think it's murder. You hear that a lot. People think it's taking life from something that could have lived and contributed to society. And something that I find really, really weird about that line of thought is in a lot of cases of abortion, women have to do it or should do it for their lives to remain livable or, for them to remain alive at all. especially with things like ectopic pregnancies and things like that, where the baby's just not, it's not working out. The body's not doing it right, and it's nobody's fault. But gosh darn it, you'll die or be irreparably damaged, right? You'll struggle for the rest of your life because of this. So,
or because you have fucking AIDS.
Whatever, yeah, but in that moment, hold on. In that moment, for those people who say, too bad she still can't because it's murder, you are choosing the life of something that has yet to come versus the life of something that is there now. You are choosing the hope and the belief that something will eventually come of that life over what is active and here. You are murdering somebody who is alive in order to save someone who has yet to take their first breath. And that is very weird to me.
There was a really, honestly perfect political piece of art that I had seen for the pro-life movement. And it's a political, or a politician holding an umbrella over himself and the bump of a pregnant woman's belly, and the mother and the born child holding hands are standing in the rain.
Also, yeah, that's
and
apt,
I really think that is a perfect way of visualizing what we are prioritizing here.
What's really interesting to me as well is the fact that in most people think like abortion as that like murder aspect, but what's really interesting is that in a lot of abortion cases, I think we're all saying at this point, is that a lot of times the fetus isn't even alive anymore. And so there's this story I heard. I wish I could tell you who I heard it from. It was on Twitter, so go scour the interwebs. But of this woman whose mother had a horrible miscarriage and in their kitchen and went to the hospital. Baby no longer has a heartbeat. But because of how far along she was and where she lived, she was still expected to carry this baby to term, but it was slowly killing her. So this small child had to go with her breaking down father in front of a panel of old men and beg them to let them remove this dead fetus so that she may live.
So the reason
they chose the life of something that hadn't happened yet over the life of a woman who could even contribute by having more babies. If you're gonna go at the most base, toxic, evil, masculine human shit, then she is at least capable of making more babies. It is fucking insane that it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. The only thing that I can think of is they're intentionally seeking to restrict the ability of women to do things, because if you think about it for any length of time, no matter what you believe, you are making a singular choice of one life over another. And throughout human history, that has been such a huge problem. That has been such a psychological, philosophical dilemma of, like, how do you choose that? But for this particular topic, they don't care about any of that. They don't even take the time to think of it like that, because to them, they're preventing murder without advocating for death. But that's not true. They are preventing a possibility while advocating for actual death. And it just, I fucking don't get it.
Also,
and for people,
my favorite line of this entire side of women is, you are not preventing abortions by making them illegal. You are preventing safe abortions, because women will always get rid of something like that. In those situations, if they know they are bringing a child into horrible situations, or if this child is no longer viable, women have always and will always choose to abort that.
Right. It's like the common sense thing to do. I mean, if something's killing you,
even out of self-preservation, yeah.
Right.
So in case you guys,
get cold, you take medicine.
In case you guys didn't know this, actually, I'll say the thing I've been trying to say. The reason that woman was dying is because when a baby dies in utero, it begins to break down and basically decompose inside of the living person, which throws them into sepsis, which is basically when their organs begin to fail because there's a rotting piece of them inside of them.
It's like if your arm got like horribly crushed and blood was no longer able to pump to that arm anymore, and they said, you know, we can't take that off of you. And so instead it rotted next to you, constantly poisoning you, making it so that you couldn't live your life.
Poisons your bloodstream and you
couldn't do
die.
anything about it until you died.
And then you're just, oh, it happens sometimes. It's a tragedy. We couldn't have done anything.
We couldn't have done anything. What a blessed woman to have still tried to keep that horrible arm.
Because one day, maybe, who knows, maybe
that arm could
it'll
have
come
made a
back to
beautiful
life.
piece of artwork.
It's like they've seen like too many movies or something, and they're like trying to like build this narrative for someone, and it's like you're living their life. They want to live their life. Leave them alone.
Another thing is that, in case you guys didn't know this, as well as our audience, a ton of mammals have the ability to instantaneously abort on will.
I love that. I'm sorry. Give me some examples, please. That's amazing.
It is a natural evolutionary trait that some mammals have to for a lot of reasons, such as like if it was going to have them brutally mauled by the male because they were pregnant with another lions, like lions specifically are one of them.
Of course, it's lions. I love lions.
Yeah. So if a male lion kills the leader of the pride and takes over, if any female lions are pregnant with that cub, they will kill them.
Also, they'll eat the live cubs.
They will eat the live cubs to that male. So they get rid of every single part of the male they killed that exists, and like hostile take over the pride.
Yeah.
Rodents are another one. They can abort and reabsorb the fetus into themselves.
I feel like a shark could do this. I have no bearing on that, but for some reason that strikes me.
I can understand that.
This is gonna be a weird Google, but I'm gonna send it. Shark.
I'm intrigued at what Google's gonna give you.
I'm also intrigued at what Google's going to give you.
Shark fetus abortion.
That is a weird Google.
That is a weird Google, right? I mean, I hope I don't end up on a list, but what list would this be?
What list would you'd end up on? I don't even know.
Oh shit, he gives a fuck about the government action.
That list.
Interesting enough, they're Australian researchers, and I say that because Australia is like, I don't know what it is about Australia, but it seems like they try so hard to fuck up their specific environment with mining. It's ridiculous. But anyway, seems like there's a high rate of abortion in sharks that are captured, but I can't find anything.
Does that mean that we abort the sharks, or that they do it themselves?
It's by abortion they mean a failed birth, essentially, right?
Oh, okay.
So, and it seems
a better
like
way to phrase this might be terminate.
Right. I mean, I guess they specifically said abortion, so I'm not sure about the shark thing, but I'm still going through it. It's tough. I'm not a biologist. This is not legal advice. But
no, sharks and rays, manta rays that are captured do have a history of miscarrying their young.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. I don't know if it's intentional or if it's just.
So do I think pandas.
Yeah. Monkeys also purposefully miscarry to avoid infanticide. So, like,
do you want to hear something about monkeys?
For a very specific, like mammalial standalong, we commonly hear ourselves in correlation with monkeys.
Mm. Do you guys want to hear something totally off topic about monkeys?
Yes.
Sure.
So apparently, I think they were chimpanzees, a type of chimpanzee. They were found to have an absurdly high number for what we thought. I think it was in the like hundreds range of individual like words in the forms of various different sounds that they use to communicate.
Oh, animal intelligence is that yeah.
And I feel vindicated as a small child that was told, oh, animals just aren't as smart as us. And I'm like, they have a language. We have now proven this. And yet we're the smartest animals. We can take care of the earth and destroy it because nobody else is effective.
Oh my god, but like fucking dolphins have the brain stem 10 times the size of ours or some shit. Like
dolphins will take over the world. Forget Planet of the Apes. It's Planet of the Dolphins.
Okay, so I have something to say about dolphins, but before I say that about dolphins, I just got to the finality of this particular article, and I have to say, what the actual fuck? So, there's 3 different types of shark gestation, right, for a newborn. There's oviparity, which is eggs. There's viviparity, which is typical gestation inside of the body of the mother. And then there's oviviparity, which is both. So
what?
They produce
carry their eggs inside
themselves. Yes, and then they hatch inside themselves and then continue to grow. Now, what's interesting about oviviparity, there we go, is that in some cases, the embryos will get additional nutrition from eating the other eggs in the womb.
Yeah. They so literally consume each other.
What the fuck? Some straight Zabuza shit. Like, kill your whole classmate and, like, that's it. Now you're the ultimate shark.
That's how that one great white...
Your brother.
That's insane. That's absolutely nuts.
Actually, Jaws was created.
In some cultures, twins were seen as a curse because if you didn't reabsorb your twin, something was wrong with you. Like you weren't stronger.
That's Spartan as fuck. Jesus Christ.
Twins have always been looked at weird.
But dolphins. So, if you look at the development of a human baby and the development of a dolphin pup, I don't know what they're called. I'm gonna call them pups because they're shark pups. They look almost identical up until the very end.
Yes.
And that's super interesting.
Dolphins will pass their own pufferfish to get high on purpose.
Yes.
I think that's a sign of actual intelligence. Weirdly, this is like a personal opinion. I think if you want to get high, you probably have self-awareness.
Yeah.
So actually,
that's fair.
This is a really interesting commentary on that. Is there is a specific tree somewhere where around the fall of the season, the tree's fruit fall into the ground and they ferment, and a bunch of animals from all different parts of the food chain come and get drunk off of these this fruit, and predator and prey alike just kind of vibe together for like a little party.
Heard of this. I love it.
So,
like, I don't know, doesn't that make it seem like they have some struggle in their lives?
I mean, their life is literally nothing but struggle.
Just struggle.
Listen, we're still working on women's rights.
They struggle so much that they struggle so much that they don't get to worry about things like politics. Actually, so a really interesting sociological study is suicide is higher in places that are more content. Like that have
people need time to
less to worry about because they have self-actualization time.
I feel like that's a sign that humans just aren't ready to reach this level of intelligence yet.
We're just I think
like
it's
we
skipped
steps.
I think it's
that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I'm saying like we skipped steps. We didn't do something right. You know, we're missing something. Because isn't contentness what we're always looking for?
One of the highest suicide rate professions is dentists because they don't work that often and they make enough money they don't have to.
Yep.
And it's weird.
That makes sense.
To think. It's and it's like they have more free time and they live an easier life, but they have one of the higher suicide rates as far as jobs go, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly, dentist is not my
also,
first like
the
pick for that, but
the suicide rates among intellectuals are terrible. They're terrible. People that know things are the most likely to murder themselves.
All right, I've got a hot take here. If you're so smart that you can't handle being around stupid people, I don't know. Are you really that smart?
I'm looking at you, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, for real. You're just an irritable person, and maybe it was better off this way.
I will call him out that man.
Maybe they just don't have the soul of a teacher. Maybe that's it. They can't stand being around people that aren't at their level because they don't want to help them get there.
Oh, so what? Can you expand on soul of a teacher? Like, what do you mean by soul of a teacher?
Like they don't have the want to guide people. They don't want to help people learn. So the irritability that stems from them not being an intellectual such as themselves. I rolled my eyes when I said that. Comes from the fact that the person they're talking to doesn't have their knowledge, but you have that knowledge. So you could give it to them, but they don't want to do that. Therefore, the irritation.
Okay. Gotcha. And for anyone that doesn't quite understand the situation with Neil deGrasse Tyson, right, is that he's an astrophysicist, he's an awesome scientist, but he keeps going to fucking schools, and if your degree isn't related to something STEM, and that stands for what, science, technology, engineering, and
actually STEAM.
They throw art in there.
Yeah.
Oh, they throw art.
Also talk to people that like art.
Okay, interesting enough, you can also do art. But basically, he'll tell you that your degree is a waste of time and that you should do whatever he's doing because he's the smartest man on earth, which is really arrogant.
Also incorrect from like a...
Also...
like a what is like a...
historical stance?
Not even a historic... Like, based on data.
I'm standing from historicals. Statistical.
He's like the final boss.
Also, from a statistical standpoint, he is not the smartest man alive. Like, he's the leading in astrophysics. Absolutely.
I mean,
he also refuses.
But what does he know about macroeconomics?
He also refuses to talk to people with like too low of an IQ, which I will get into a heated argument about the IQ.
Oh my god, that's not real.
It's true though. But also, I took an IQ test in elementary school. Because I had to, because they tested me to see if I was on the spectrum. They tested to see what part of the spectrum I was on, rather, because everyone is on the spectrum. And it's the biggest load of shit.
So the only time an IQ test is even really paid attention to is when testing for students with intellectual disabilities. And even then, it is not the sole indicator because they recognize that you can't really go off of it for multiple reasons, not the least of which being it is testing in a certain language for a certain group of like economically stable people.
There are different types of IQ tests. Like, you can literally test somebody's emotional intelligence.
EQ test
with air quotes. Because who knows what our concept of any of this really is. We're basically spitballing every day of our existence. Everything we learn is like on a day-to-day basis. But like if you really think that IQ tests are that important, you should really stop watching that many movies, because the only place that people are like, this IQ is this, this, and this, it's in Hollywood. Like the one that I can think of most recently is like in Criminal Minds, they constantly cite Spencer Reed's IQ because he's so intelligent. He can read so fast. He can maintain this and this amount of focus to this many tasks, and it's all attributed to his genius level IQ.
You know, I think we should be less focused on whether or not women want to have a child and more focused on the fact that we could be helping the children that are currently in our education system to actually do stuff to society.
Oh, God. Yeah. Or like our foster system that sucks and is constantly taken advantage of so that these terrible, terrible people can get a paycheck for doing terrible, terrible things to people that exist.
See, this is what I wanted. Yes. Rage.
I feel like I'm just getting more and more heated as this goes.
How could you not?
Or the fact that we are steadily inclining the amount of psychopaths and sociopaths that we produce as a nation.
God, teachers. I also think about teachers. They are the sole holders of the future.
Yeah, the reason why people don't have the soul of the teacher is because nobody cares about teachers. Literally, the phrase, what is the phrase? People that can't do teach.
Yeah.
That's terrible. It's awful.
Wow.
I hate that mentality because more often than not, people who can do are the best teachers.
They are the best. That's what a mentor is. Also, where did mentoring go? Like, we're bringing it back, but like at the decline of our nation.
I will say, though, when that first started, it was kind of like a hierarchical societal game. So let's not go that far back.
I mean, I think there's a healthy balance. It still happens. Like I actually applied for an apprenticeship just the other day. And a lot of trades still function that way.
Yeah,
also
a lot of trades still function that
swordsmen?
way.
People who forge swords?
Oh, blacksmiths?
Blacksmiths?
Like swordsmen.
Not swordsmen.
I was like...
blacksmiths, not swordsmen. Or like potters. People who like taught other people like how to hand make pottery, like with fires.
Now we have
that
machines
they
for that, didn't you know?
Keep the temperatures, but it's not the same, Molly. It's not the same. These people have to like put a certain amount of wood in and produce a certain amount of airflow in their homemade hand-built kilns.
I went to a brief lecture about the history of pottery.
If anybody is
archaeological pottery, it's really cool.
Anybody is interested, look into a documentary of Living National Treasures. I think it's literally called Living National Treasures. And it's basically bouncing all over the world of these people that are alive, that have these amazing crafts that they were taught that are dying because we don't teach them anymore.
If you notice a lot about like those places where you go, you know, in obscure, quote unquote, places, they're not obscure. Americans just think they are. Where people have like, you know, they hand make all this stuff.
We're still picking rice out of fields instead of having giant machines that do it for them.
I can talk about rice farming. I can talk about rice farming.
It is so aggressive. It is so demanding. Rice farming is one of the hardest things.
Hold on. Finish what you were saying.
People like saying like they're doing these things are a lot of times older generations because there's this pressure on the current generations of not taking time to learn a craft and just getting in the workforce because otherwise you just kind of deteriorate and die.
Which is the point of the factory worker mentality that we implemented into our studies. God damn, we come back to the education system so often.
Oh my gosh.
It's almost like education is a foundational building block of every single human faculty, and
we should really fucking fix it. And we've been trying to, and but like trying in quotations, if that makes sense.
I hear your point, but I raise you. We make more money instead, and we make the money from poor people. So
we
love it.
But
we impoverish people. Yep. And then we keep them impoverished. Yep.
And then they're stupid forever. And they can't do anything about it because they don't know they're stupid.
Oh, and then we make them hate each other so that they're really distracted by each other, and they won't think about hating us that way.
Oh my God,
and then they just die.
Make them hate each other because they have different colored skin.
Oh God.
Yeah, we give them drugs, or better yet, we make the drugs that they need to live absurdly expensive.
So expensive.
Right, and then they die at age 20 because they can't afford insulin.
Or
because
they can't get proper medical.
Preferably right after they have another poor baby.
Yeah. But also
they have to have a baby.
They can't afford proper medicine, so they go get medicines from drug dealers that are laced with something, and then they get addicted to things, and then they die of being drug addicts that nobody cares about and everyone looks down on.
And then we just throw them in jail.
Yo, hold
but
up.
while they're in jail, we can also get them to do things for us.
Real ass PSA real quick. Fentanyl is being laced in pretty much everything. Be careful out there. I don't know how you can check for fentanyl, but Jesus, I don't understand why. It's like we lost Mac Miller and we never learned the lesson.
And so you will die. Like it'll put holes in your brain.
Yeah.
I'm really asking everybody out there, like right now, please be careful. The government sucks and like the world is exploding, but you still matter, so please be careful with your life. There is something to find, there is a place to like get help. There's people to talk to. There's a reason to live. So please be careful. Just, yeah.
Yep.
And even if everything will be okay.
Everything will be okay. Yeah. I mean, even this shit show, even this whole rant episode, all this BS we're talking about going on currently, it'll pass, we'll find.
I mean, we know what's after our lifetimes, right?
Right.
It will be
and
okay.
Also, do you really want to know what's a real sign of it being okay? Is the fact that we are talking about it, and we're not the only group of people talking about it right now. And that's a real sign that things are going to be okay. It's the things that we're not talking about. That's when it's an issue. But we're talking about it now. So like it's going to get there. It's going to take a while, but we're going to be okay.
And they're going to keep throwing these curveballs like, do aliens exist? Oh my God, UFOs, things are real. So that we pay attention to things that are really, really cool and like we really want to know the answers to, but they're not that important right now.
No, and try to remember that they want you to hate each other. So next time you hate somebody for some, let's say gently, non-personality related reason, maybe rethink that.
Because
and reach out to people who are slightly different.
Ignorant. They could be ignorant, misinformed. Just
humans floating on this ball of rock.
As a very wise man on a very short video I once said he sounded like Shaggy. The only difference between a government and a street gang is length of occupation, and amount of members.
Almost choked there.
Literally, I did almost choke there. Everybody is born with rights. The only thing that the government does is redistribute them and keep them as they please.
Get to know each other too. Like, just talk to people because you might have some cool conversations and you might change the world with somebody you thought you hated.
There are so many cool people out there and they don't come in the colors you think they do. And I'm not saying that like racially. I'm saying that like more metaphorically. Like people don't look like, or maybe even sometimes act like they're going to enrich your life from your outside
Literally
perspective, but they really will.
Strike up conversations with strangers.
Right. Practice being surprised. You don't have to know everything about someone to like hang out with them.
Admit when you're wrong.
So I guess really oh my gosh, that's so important. Practice being uncomfortable.
Don't be mad that you're uncomfortable.
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
Don't be mad you're embarrassed. Don't feel shameful. Just practice being uncomfortable, because guess what? It's uncomfortable. So you need to take time. You need to figure
remember
it out.
that anger is a secondary emotion. You're feeling that anger for an underlying reason.
And your emotions aren't who you are. Not even your like singular thoughts are who you are. So much makes that up. So like when you're feeling angry, you are not angry. You are feeling anger. Anger is using you, not the other way around.
You are allowing yourself to feel an emotion that you don't need and just hurts you.
And it's never too late to realize that. I don't care if you're 6. Hopefully you're not listening to this. I also don't care if you're like 85. It's not too late.
And if you didn't know this, I forgive you.
If you came into this and you decided to not
be better.
Yeah, if you came into this and decided not to click the X in the disclaimer, and you're like, maybe I was mistaken about abortion, welcome. I appreciate you admitting that, and I hope that we can have a conversation.
Maybe
Even
the things that women say matter.
Yeah. Even if you don't conclude that, thank you for thinking of the
listening. Yeah. Just listening. Just staying here long enough to be enraged.
Oh my gosh. If you even listen to any of the other episodes of the podcast, like, triple thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Just as a person and as a listener.
If you made it this far, I hope you know that this episode wasn't about our opinions, but it was your understanding.
And really the understanding that we should all try and understand each other more, because really the big umbrellas, they're not here for us. Corporations, governments, organizations, they're not here for us. We are here for each other, and it is so important that you look to things as an individual. Don't get hit with the bystander effect and just gawk while things go on around you. Reach out, interact. Interact with the world. Interact with the people around you. Say hi to your neighbor. If your neighbor hates you, don't hate them back. Just let it go. You will find a more peaceful life waiting for you if you can manage to even do a fraction of any of that.
It's not doing things out of spite.
Care about humanity, but also worry about yourself.
Oh shit. Segue.
Pay attention to your mental health.
Gandhi says, an eye for an eye makes the world blind, but we have more news on Gandhi, right?
God.
Wait, I don't know the news.
Oh yeah, Gandhi was a terrible person who believed that if you were raped, it was your fault and that you should be raped by other people to make it better, and constantly slept with naked 13-year-olds to prove to himself that he wasn't a bad person and he could withstand the temptation of being around naked 13-year-olds.
That I don't know anything else, but I know for a fact that last one was true, and it was not just 13-year-olds; it was women of all ages. And specifically tempt me.
And that was gross. That's gross. But
I mean, he didn't discriminate.
That doesn't take away from the fact that what he said was true. An eye for an eye does make the whole world blind.
And Gandhi, for much as a horrible person he was, he did do some cool things. And
that's why I think you should always listen to what somebody says, even if they are horrible.
Even if they're a terrible person. Mother Teresa was embezzling stuff from her charities, so. Which is crazy. I found that out.
I did find that out as well.
Yeah, she was.
It's an overall lesson of don't meet your heroes.
That's so sad.
But aspire to be better than them.
Yeah. They're just a human like you.
Don't put people up on pedestals.
A lot of times people find themselves on those pedestals by accident. Please remember that.
Random throw in that doesn't make any sense and isn't a part of anything else. Amber Heard sucks.
Ah! What a lying ass bitch.
Yeah.
God. Also, doing cocaine in the fucking courtroom like nobody's seeing it.
And also makes a goddamn mockery of the Me Too movement.
Allegedly.
God.
God, an abuser pretending to be abused is just fucked. It's fucked.
It's so fucked. Sorry, that was.
And telling the abusee that no one will believe them is classic abuser scare tactics.
Also, I love the fact that she said, "Tell the world he did," and guess what? We believe him.
And you know what? I am so glad.
You're crazy, bitch. I'm sorry. I believe that other guy.
Also,
I know he's a really good actor, so maybe he's acting all this, but holy shit.
And you're an actress and everything you do is non-believable? Like, did you see the clip of her trying to make herself cry? It's terrible. It's terrible.
Fun fact, her acting coach actually said that
better than she acts. And that's the only reason why she's anywhere.
Whoa.
I'm just saying, like, what the fuck? She can't even act for her own livelihood. How does she do it in shows and movies?
But also,
so fun fact, her acting coach said that she has trouble crying. So,
and crying's hard.
I can see it.
You got to admit that crying's hard.
True.
Yeah.
And honestly,
acting's hard.
Acting is hard.
Yes.
Acting's hard.
She is still like I fully believe that she could come out tomorrow and admit everything she did was wrong. And that she's a terrible person and she wants to spin it around. But you know what? People don't really do that because it's not in their own interest. So take a page away from this, and if you do something terrible, own up to it. Even if it's way too far past the point of return.
Yeah. Oh,
history will smile kindly on you.
I'm distract the audience with more talking while I find this quote.
Okay.
Okay.
We got this.
No pressure.
Well, honestly, like, I really wish that people would realize that even when they're past everything, like they've gone so far with the lying and the scheming and the manipulation, and that even though everyone knows that they're wrong and they won't admit to it for their own pride and like give it up. Just
beautiful lead in. I have the quote.
Go for it.
This is by Carl Sagan. One of the saddest lessons of history is this. If we've been bamboozled long enough, we tend to reject any evidence of the bamboozle. We're no longer interested in finding out the truth. The bamboozle has fully captured us. It's simply too painful to acknowledge, even to ourselves, that we've been taken. Once you give a charlatan power over you, you almost never give it back. Get it back, rather. And I think that is hauntingly true. And I think that is partly what we saw with fucking Trump. To bring it like full circle.
Okay.
People were so far in denial that they chose this person to lead them to victory, and then he fell so hard, so fast.
But they were in it. It was too late. They had staked their marriages over this. They had lost friends.
Friendships. Oh my God. The friendships that were lost.
So if they took it back, if they admitted they were wrong, they would have been admitting that they were wrong that entire time. And people just can't fucking do that.
And that is such a noble trait to have. Even if you've been doing it forever, you are not past the point of redemption. Just admit what you did and move on.
Seriously, I'm being sincere. History will smile on you.
Secrets and lies kill you. Truly. Like, the more you lie and the more secretive you are, it shortens your lifespan. It has a physiological effect on things like your heart and your brain. Just let it go. Speak your truth.
We will figure this out, y'all. Even if it takes another global incident, even if the face of the earth is nothing like what we recognize it to be later, even if we fail 100 more times, even if we regress 2,000 years back, we will figure this out. Whether it be in our lifetime or other. Because humans are tenacious, and we like to work together despite ourselves, even when our version of work together sometimes includes bloodshed.
You know, I really hope that the Hollywood version of humanity being so tenacious that nothing can ever face them to be like, I'd love that to be true.
I think we can do it. I really truly believe in that.
Because like there's been
Same.
Hollywood things where alien invasions fail despite all the odds being stacked against them. The underdog takes the lead, and like
That's most of sci-fi.
Let's do that to ourselves.
Yeah.
Like our problem right now is us. Let's not wait until the problem is something else to fix ourselves.
Yeah, I feel like right now we're all like the world is in a bad relationship with itself.
Mm-hmm. I also think that too many people think that they've got it right. Too many people are standing firm that, I know the truth. I know the truth of the universe, and this is the right
subjective.
way.
It's all subjective.
You're never going to know the truth unless you're never going to know any sort of truth unless you, as we were said before, talk to people, get outside your comfort zone, go to a new place, experience something that you don't believe in.
The true power is admitting absolute powerlessness.
I think I agree. Yeah. And not necessarily like a go with the flow sort of thing, but just admitting that you don't control everyone around you.
We have no control over anything. I mean, like, besides ourselves, the only thing you can control is yourself.
Literally.
So make it a good self.
Literally like yourself.
You have so many things to like about yourself, and if you don't, change yourself to like yourself, but not in like the way society tells yourself. Like, you don't need to be skinnier, you don't need to be prettier. But if you're like an abusive son of a bitch, maybe you should do something different.
Well, if you want to stop drinking, just put the bottle down.
I have to say this is going to be a weird take on this, but this is something I've been thinking about recently. I think that it really just boils down to an acceptance that one day you're going to die.
Okay, yeah, like live life.
Like everybody is going to die, and regardless,
everybody
The beauty of being a human being is everybody's a little sad all the time.
Well, and regardless of what you believe afterward, it's all just we do cease for our own perception one time. And, I'm going to make another quote here.
And the person that gives the quote after, it's more poetic that way.
This is kind of, a funny quote because it's by, sorry for stuttering, it is by Rengoku. Rengoku, the Demon Slayer Hashira from Demon Slayer anime. And
you already didn't listen to me.
I'm sorry?
It's okay, keep going. It's beyond the point of return.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
But both growing old and dying are part of the beauty of being an ephemeral creature like a human.
Yeah.
I think that's right. But can you explain now what I didn't understand? I feel bad.
Oh, I said that you should say who the quote is by after you say the quote because it's more poetic that way.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry.
It really seals it in a little bow.
Okay. I'll keep in mind that for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So
honestly,
it's funny that our rant podcast ended up being so wholesome toward the end.
Right? But I think that's a good thing.
Well, no, honestly, I think most of our outrage is just people not treating each other with mutual respect.
Yeah. So I think this is kind of
just
like...
go around being a human, please. This isn't wholesome. This is a pleading moment of God damn. Can somebody realize what we're doing wrong? And like, we're doing a lot of things wrong, but there are so many things that we're doing wrong that we can fix.
I think that a lot of peace comes from the knowledge that you only control yourself. Everybody around you, including yourself, is going to die, but you can still do so much while you're alive.
Right.
Read a book. Listen to music. Dance around in your underwear.
Talk to a coworker that doesn't look like one you'd normally say something to.
Not the creepy guy. Don't talk to him.
You don't have to talk to him.
You don't have to talk to him. Also, report people for being awful. If your fucking boss, if you see your boss touch up on somebody that they should not be touching, tell someone.
Right.
Talk about wages, especially if they tell you not to.
Especially.
Tell your fucking coworkers how much you make, because it's not a pride thing. It's literally so that everybody's being paid a fair amount.
Revolt.
There was an HR lady that left the entire staff pay in the printer thing for everybody to see, and because she quit, and I thought that was so badass.
That's pretty badass, actually.
So, like, wake up tomorrow and decide to do good. Decide to do better.
It's easy to do better. Don't try to do best.
Honestly, perfection is the enemy of progress.
Don't try to change people, try to help them.
And honestly, most of the time, if you change yourself, people around you will change in kind.
So your mentality means so much. Like, if you
simply
just
smiling
hate everything,
you
will bring people who hate everything to you. And that's just
literally
miserable.
Just smiling is a psychological way to improve other people's moods. And who knows, you might like really change somebody's life just by talking to them.
But goddamn,
and
if
listening
some
to what
guy
they have to
tells
say.
you that you're prettier when you smile, punch him in the fucking face.
Oh god.
Don't actually, like, I don't know.
I know we're speaking like all this love of humanity, but like, do take care of yourself, please.
You still have value.
Don't put yourself in dangerous situations. Travel together with people that you trust. If you do drugs, be with people that you trust. Literally avoid doing drugs by yourself, because that's how people die.
Also, like, if you're not with people who you trust, don't be afraid to drop them. You know, I know it's scary, but you'll find new people, I promise.
If people constantly put you in uncomfortable situations and you're afraid that you'll never have anybody else besides them, don't be. Those people suck, and you can do better.
Now it's gotten wholesome.
I mean, it was big wholesome already. Now it's like mega wholesome. We're like All Might right now.
Go beyond plus ultra.
All right. Well, we've hit, I think, an hour and 15 minutes. I don't have an exact number, but I figured we'd start our wrap up. But get your last says in now.
Well, and we should end with that quote.
What's the quote?
We should end with a quote.
Oh, our regular quote. Yeah,
the quotes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
These are not. Okay,
yeah,
one moment.
I was supposed to do some ad reads, but not from real sponsors, fake ad reads. But I missed that.
Let's make that a teaser.
Yeah. So next time, get ready. Get ready for the creativity we're going to throw into this.
Am I reading some sentences to people?
So we should really start a Patreon for people to send random donations for whatever.
Yeah, like quotes and stuff.
We'll split them evenly.
I mean, we could also start a merch store. Like, you want a Dungeon Dwellers t-shirt? Like,
we have a bunch of things. All of the teasers that, like, I feel like I've like given teasers of what our merch could be with all these like quotes I give.
I'll design them.
If you want a shirt that says "Go mop the ceiling," like.
I love that shirt. Conceptually, even. Go fucking mop the ceiling. Like, literally do anything but fucking occupy the same oxygen supply as I am.
You can also do like a line of mean t-shirt quotes that are meaningless, like "You are an expired credit card."
Oh my gosh. We got a pretty sound idea. But anyway, the quote, what's today's quote? Someone has to pick a number.
Yeah,
I choose 26.
26. Oh, this feels good for this rant episode. It is literally just the sentence, "They are evil."
Amazing.
Classic sentence.
Yeah.
I wish we could end every podcast with like the fist bump that they do in Big Hero 6 where they do the blah 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 blah.
Maybe
Is that-
Brandon will just end it with that noise.
Are you putting in a request? Is that what's happening now?
That wasn't a request formally, but like it's there now. You can leave it.
I think it should be like over music. The
We
over music.
definitely should fade from talking to music.
Oh yeah.
I've already put in a request for certain things to be sent to me by the man who creates this so that I can create an intro. But, you know.
I also want us to take random snippets of each of us saying we are the dungeon dwellers in different inflections, and we can snip it
the
together.
dungeon dwellers.
That's
And we
definitely
can-
Lindsay's.
And we can snip together different parts of
Oh my God.
each of us saying it and put music behind it, and that would be our intro.
Oh hell yeah!
I love that.
Look
I
forward
think
to
that's
that, 'cause
something
think
I
that's gonna be the
similarly
plan.
suggested.
Yeah.
I feel hijacked.
I
Anyway.
apologize.
Before we reveal all of our future secrets, we should end this episode.
Indeed.
Oh, bye.
Yeah.
I really didn't think
Yeah.
that was going to make it in.
I really thought he was gonna cut it.
Yeah, I'm a little embarrassed
Yeah.
about that tiny we are the dungeon dwellers. But you know what? Let's just own it itself, and I shouldn't be embarrassed.
All right. Well, I guess hope you know all this is. And last thing is that I don't feel like we got all of our rant out. You know, I feel like that was like a
Do we
little.
need
This
a
is
part two?
definitely a series.
Yeah. So maybe this will be recurring. So keep an eye out for that in the future. I don't know how recurring it'll
Like
be.
every
Could
7th
be,
episode.
yeah, or something like that. But you know, maybe we'll do this again. I think.
Also,
it
if
turned out to be a
you
way
have
better
something
idea.
that frustrates you about the world, or you want to rant about it, you want to hear us rant about it, post in the comments
Our opinions
below
on it.
and
Yeah.
give us fuel for the fire, and we will talk about what enrages you.
I think Fuel for the Fire is the name of this series. I like that.
Okay, yeah, I like that. All right, well, thank you for joining us. I hope you join us again for episode 12. And if you somehow made it to the end of episode 11 and don't want to unsubscribe, thank you. We really
And we
appreciate
didn't
your support.
Introduce ourselves. So on the way out, I am Heather, also known as Sprout.
Oh, I'm Lorella.
Molly Mock.
And I'm the host, Brandon, but also Maui. Or
Signing out.
Right. Bye.
Bye.
Farewell.